she came to finalize the divorce, he froze. When he realized she was 7 months pregnant from the moment Hayden Caldwell saw the figure walking into the lawyer's office, his heart stopped. It wasn't the faint scent of her perfume or the grace in her steps that made him freeze. It was the calm in her eyes, a calm that carried a secret he wasn't prepared for. Amelia Sinclair, his estranged wife, had come to finalize their divorce. And yet, something about her presence made his entire world halt. Hayden had imagined this day countless times. He pictured it being tense, painful, perhaps even relieving. But nothing had prepared him for the unmistakable roundness of her belly 7 months pregnant. Shock, disbelief, and confusion slammed into him all at once. This can't be real, he thought as the receptionist called their names. Amelia smiled faintly, almost knowingly, and gestured for him to follow her into the office. The air between them was heavy, laden with unspoken words and years of unresolved tension. Hayden sank into the chair opposite her, trying to steady the whirlwind of emotions inside him. Anger, regret, disbelief, and an unfamiliar surge of protectiveness. I didn't know," Hayden stammered finally, the words rushing out uncontrollably. How could I not know?" Amelia looked down at her hands resting lightly on her belly. "You didn't know because I didn't tell you, Hayden, not anyone. I needed time to process it myself, to figure out what I wanted and what was best for me and this baby. 7 months. 7 months she had carried their child without him knowing, and yet she walked in, composed, dignified, and beautiful as ever." Hayden's mind raced, his thoughts clashing with the sudden swell of emotions he could barely contain. Amelia, why now? Why come to finalize the divorce if— His voice faltered, thick with confusion and fear. "If we finalized it today, it would be the end, official." "There would be no going back," Amelia said softly, her voice trembling with vulnerability. "I wanted you to know before it became permanent. You deserved that choice." The lawyer cleared his throat, trying to maintain a semblance of formal procedure, but Hayden barely noticed. His entire focus was Amelia, and the tiny life growing inside her, a life that had silently changed everything. I should have noticed something, anything," Hayden admitted, his voice barely audible. "You were busy. I was scared. I didn't know how you'd react. I didn't want pity, resentment, or judgment," Amelia said gently. "I just needed time to figure things out." Hayden's chest tightened. He had imagined life without her countless times, and now, realizing they were about to have a child, he felt a mix of awe, fear, and longing. "Amelia, I don't hate you. I could never hate you," he said softly, the words slipping out before he could stop them. A flicker of hope appeared in her eyes. For a long, heavy moment they sat silently. Years of resentment, misunderstanding, and pain hung in the air, but now there was also fragile hope. Hayden thought about the child, about a life they had never imagined, and the love they had buried beneath pride and mistakes. "I'm scared too," Amelia admitted finally. "I don't know if we can go back. I don't even know if we want the same things anymore." "I don't know either," Hayden confessed. "But I do know I want to be there for this child. I want to try, Amelia. I want to be a father. And maybe I want to be a husband again." Tears ran down Amelia's cheeks, and she reached out to take his hand. The warmth of her touch was a reminder of what he had lost, what he had taken for granted. It was a small gesture, yet it carried the weight of everything they had lost, and everything they could still reclaim. The lawyer cleared his throat again, but neither of them noticed. The divorce papers lay on the table, symbols of endings, but now also of choices yet to be made. "I don't know if we can just go back to how things were," Hayden admitted. "But I do know I want to be. Part of this child's life, no matter what." Amelia nodded, her tears flowing freely now. "I want that too. I want us to try, but it has to be for the right reasons, not just because of the baby. We need to confront the truth about ourselves and the mistakes we made. I'm ready," he said firmly. "I'm ready to face it all, to be better. For you, for the baby, for us." In that moment, as they held hands across the table, years of fear and anger began to dissolve. The future remained uncertain, but hope, a fragile, luminous hope, had begun to bloom. They left the office without signing the divorce papers. For the first time in months, they walked side by side, not as estranged spouses, but as partners facing a shared future. Amelia rested her hand on her belly, and Hayden instinctively placed his over hers, feeling the gentle movements of the life growing inside. It was ordinary and quiet, yet it held the promise of a new beginning. Months later, when their daughter arrived, they gazed into her eyes and saw not just their own reflections, but the reflection of a life renewed. Hayden and Amelia had weathered storms, made mistakes, and carried pain that could have torn them apart, but love, enduring and resilient, had given them a second chance. They knew challenges awaited, sleepless nights, disagreements, and fears about the unknown. Yet they also knew this: they were no longer alone. They had each other, and they had the tiny life that had forced them to face what truly mattered. One quiet evening, watching their daughter sleep, Hayden whispered to Amelia, "I froze when I saw you in that office. But now I feel alive again." Amelia smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. "And we'll keep waking up together, Hayden, every day, no matter what." It was a simple promise, yet it carried the weight of everything they had endured. In the end, the divorce papers remained unsigned, but their hearts had found a new beginning, a story of forgiveness, courage, and the unbreakable bond of family. What began as shock, fear, and uncertainty had transformed into a revelation of life's truest lesson: love, when given a second chance, could heal even the deepest wounds.